Yo, what is good everyone? OJ here. Welcome to another video. Today, we're going to be talking about why I think one of these four dormant franchises for Nintendo will be coming back in 2019. So let's go over the lineup here. We have Golden Sun, the franchise that was last seen in 2010. So it's been 8 years plus since the last Golden Sun Dark Dawn on the Nintendo DS. Next, we have Mother. Reggie, give us Mother 3. The last time we saw this franchise was back in 2006 for the Game Boy Advance with Mother 3, and the US never got a real or an actual localization. The game was never localized outside of Japan, so it's been a long time, 10 years plus. Next is F-Zero, with the last game in the franchise being F-Zero GX on the GameCube, which was developed in partnership with quite an interesting cast of developers and publishers and all of that. And then finally is Kid Icarus, and the last time that we saw Kid Icarus, this was back in 2012 for the Nintendo 3DS, developed by Masahiro Sakurai and his team, Project Sora Ltd. So let's go ahead and discuss which one of these four franchises will be making its comeback in 2019. Now here's the thing, guys. I'm not necessarily saying whichever one that I do pick here once we get into it, I'm not saying that this will be released in 2019. What I'm saying is that this franchise, or one of these franchises that I'm going to discuss, will be brought back in some way, shape, or form. And this was very interesting because I think it was the Icarus, shout outs to you, man, he comes out to my live streams, he was discussing how Nintendo needs to diversify their franchises a little bit more, and people want to play some of the other things that they do have, and I 100% agree with what the Icarus was saying, and I'm guessing he wants Kid Icarus coming back based on his name. Me too, I love Kid Icarus, but here's the thing, guys, Nintendo definitely needs to do that, and I think that 2019 is going to be the start of that. Let me first set up the landscape for you guys, and then we'll pick the game here. So if you look at 2019, look at what's already been announced for the Switch in 2019. You have Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes, which Nintendo has a publishing or distribution deal with. That's going to be an exclusive. That's a different style of game. You also have Fire Emblem Three Houses, which isn't the mainline Mario or Zelda or anything like that. So Fire Emblem Three Houses, that's going to be a big game for Nintendo. You have Animal Crossing, which is a huge franchise but hasn't been around for multiple years now. You have The Town, which is a brand new RPG from Game Freak, and then you also have Luigi's Mansion 3, which is a different style of game. You don't see it all the time, and that's coming out. So there's already a lot of different or weird type of games coming out in 2019, and I think that Nintendo's balancing that with the big ones, like a new Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, even though that's a port, but still, it's going to be a big game for Nintendo. You also have Pokemon 2019 coming out, and you can even kind of put Animal Crossing in there. So I think there's going to be the major franchises that we've seen before, but then there's also the obscure ones that are kind of tucked in there, and I think that there's going to be one more tucked in for 2019. And I'm going to go ahead and say that we are going to see the return, or we are going to see the announcement of something when it comes to Kid Icarus, and I'll tell you the reason why I think we're going to see Kid Icarus. Now, Masahiro Sakurai, he's obviously hard at work on Super Smash Brothers, and then there's going to be the DLC after that, and I think that yes, he's going to be hard at work at that. However, I think that once the game is out, I think a lot of the heavy lifting, for the most part, is complete. And yes, he has his team that he can refer to, work with Bandai Namco, but I also feel that Nintendo's going to say, hey, maybe you can kind of work on something else as well, or maybe he's already been doing that since the completion, and I think that Kid Icarus is going to be that franchise. Out of all of these games here, and I know we'll talk about Mother 3 in a bit, because I think that that is a whole separate thing. I know I included it in this, but I think that's a whole separate thing. I'm talking about a brand new game. I don't think we're going to see a Mother 4. Mother 3, we'll talk about in a separate video, but to make a long story short, I think Mother 3 is coming at some point. I think Mother 3 is coming at some point, but I don't think we're going to get a new Mother game, or Earthbound 3, or whatever you want to call it when it comes to the West. Japan, it's called Mother 3. We never got it. I think that's coming at some point. So Kid Icarus is the franchise I think is going to come back. Kid Icarus Uprising was phenomenal on the Nintendo 3DS. It was absolutely amazing, and yes, Golden Sun was great, F-Zero GX was great, but Kid Icarus, had this style to it, had this Masahiro Sakurai type of polish, and the real only problem to me with this game was the controls. They included a stand that you needed to play the game with, or that was optional to play the game with, because they knew that it was going to cause some problems with the stylus and holding the Nintendo 3DS steady. So it's almost like the tabletop mode before tabletop mode came out with the Switch, right? Because you set the stand down, then you put your Nintendo 3DS on there, and then you use one hand to play with the analog stick or the D-pad or whatever, and then you use your other hand to use the stylus and shoot and move around or control the camera when you're on the ground, and or tap on enemies or whatever the case was. It was not ideal, I would say, and I didn't play it that way. I still have the stand packed away or whatever, but this is what I did. I actually played the game with buttons, with the buttons to control the camera, and then you use like the L and R to attack or whatever it was, or sometimes I use the L and R for a camera and then use the buttons to attack. I'm not really sure. Either way, that's the way that I played the game. I played the game with all buttons and with camera control, and it was not very good. It was not very good because there wasn't a dual analog setup. So I think that this game, Kid Icarus Uprising, actually translates really well to today's modern standards with games and everything, because there is a full fusion system built into there. There is flying segments, there's on-ground third-person action segments, there's even 3-on-3 multiplayer as well that ran really good on the Nintendo 3DS. So I would love to see them take that formula, brush it up a bit, and bring out a new Kid Icarus Uprising, Kid Icarus Uprising 2, or just like a remake of Kid Icarus Uprising. I'd be completely down with that as well, because there's just so much content in the game. You have the difficulty multiplier on there, you have so many different weapons. I don't think I 100%ed the game, and I didn't play nearly enough multiplayer as I should have played, just because I wasn't a stylus user, and those guys who have mastered the stylus controls will just eat you up online. So I really want them to bring this one back, and I think that this game has the most moxie out of all of them in terms of gameplay and variety and everything. Now here's the thing, guys, I could easily be wrong on this. Nintendo wanted to bring back F-Zero on the Wii U, so F-Zero might be the smart pick here. And I know many of you guys are probably gonna say, well, wait a minute, what about F-Zero? And you know what, I could be completely wrong. F-Zero should have came back on the Wii U, but the developers behind the Need for Speed series back then, they didn't want to do it. Nintendo actually reached out to them, do you want to develop F-Zero for the Wii U? And they said no, and I think that Nintendo's like, that's interesting. So that was probably a shock to Nintendo. So by the time that Nintendo probably even had time to recover and think who else is going to be doing an F-Zero game, the Wii U was already dead. The Wii U was already dead at that point. So maybe they took those ideas, maybe they have something that's in the works for F-Zero on the Nintendo Switch, and I think that F-Zero would be dope, right? You have that speed, you have online play, you have HD rumble and the Joy-Con controllers. I think that could be a lot of fun on the Nintendo Switch, so we'll see if that happens. We talked about Earthbound or Mother. I think that's coming, but I don't think a new one is coming. And then there's also Golden Sun, and I think that this game is probably going to stay dormant for a little bit longer. I don't know what Camelot is doing. I know they finished up with Mario Tennis and they're continuing to pump out DLC. I just don't know how much confidence Nintendo has in the Golden Sun franchise. Nintendo decided once again there's no Isaac in Super Smash Bros. Assist trophy only. Nintendo has shown no love for the Golden Sun franchise at all. So I don't know what's going on with this one here. I'm not sure if there's going to be anything from this franchise anytime soon. Whereas if you look at Earthbound, if you look at F-Zero, if you look at Kid Icarus, all of those have representations in Super Smash Bros. Lucas, you also have Ness, you have Captain Falcon, and then you also have assist trophies from those franchises as well, the Final Smashes, and of course Kid Icarus. You have multiple representations of Kid Icarus in Smash Bros. With Pit, Dark Pit, and Palutena, and then you have the Palutena's Guidance, which is kind of ripped straight from Kid Icarus Uprising in terms of the dialogue back and forth between Palutena and Pit. So that shows me that Nintendo's showing a little bit more love, and Sakurai, of course, showing a bit more love to those franchises. So we'll see what happens, guys. I don't really know at the end of the day what's going to happen. I think 2019, one of these four, I could be wrong, I think it's going to be Kid Icarus Uprising. That's my prediction, but I think one of these four franchises will come back in a way. 2019, Nintendo's already shaping up to be pretty stacked with games, but Nintendo always has those surprises. They always have them. So like I said, I'm not sure if the game will be released in 2019, but maybe we get an announcement in 2019 of something, because it's been too long. We got the announcement for Metroid Prime 4, so that was exciting for a lot of fans out there. We got the announcement for Bayonetta. Nintendo always kind of shocks with some of these franchises that they bring back. So what do you guys think? Which one of these 4 franchises do you think is going to make a return sometime soon on the Nintendo Switch? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, Ninja, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Really helps us spread the content of Player Essence across the internet and just to YouTube. Also, make sure you check out our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube Live gaming pages and consider supporting Player Essence. When you do so, it gets you access to all sorts of cool benefits, perks, rewards, and emotes via YouTube membership. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Lets me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to Player Essence for the latest RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you, Ninja, for the next video. Peace.